안녕하세요. 메타저고리입니다. 지난 영상에 이어 오늘은 오픈 AI 데브데이 날 발표한 GPT의 새로운 기능들이 얼마나 달라졌는지 사례를 직접 보겠습니다. 어시스턴트 API를 이용해 여행 도우미를 둘 수 있는 건데요. 숙소와 비행기표도 알아봐주고 친구 여러 명이 함께 갈 때는 비용도 나눠서 계산해 줍니다. 또 도착지에서 해야 할 것 등 정보 제공도 해줍니다. 지도에 직접 확인할 수 있는 모든 함수도 사용해서 시각적으로 잘 보여줍니다. 개발자의 설명을 직접 들어보겠습니다.
The developer experience for you all to build assistive agents. So let's dive right in. Imagine I'm building Wanderlust, a travel app for global explorers, and this is the landing page. I've actually used GPT4 to come up with
달리3로
these
만든
destination
랜딩
ideas, and for
페이지고요.
those of you with a keen eye, these illustrations are generated programmatically using the new DALL-E 3 API available to all of you today. So it's pretty remarkable. But let's enhance this app by adding a very simple assistant to it. This is the screen. We're going to come back to it in a second. First, I'm going to switch over to the new assistant
오픈
page.
AI의
Creating an
플레이그라운드로
assistant is
들어옵니다.
easy. You just give it a name, some initial. Creating an assistant is easy. You just give it a name, some initial instructions, a model. In this case, I'll pick GPT4 Turbo. And here, I'll also go ahead and select some
여기서 몇
tools.
가지 설정을 해주시고요.
And Retrieval and Save. And that's it. Our assistant is ready to go. Next, I can integrate with two new primitives of this assistance API, threads and messages.
이제 자연어 모델은 스레드와 메시지를 통합할 수 있게 됐습니다. 코딩 창으로 들어가셔서 몇 가지 간단하게 설정을 해주시면 됩니다.
And then I can simply run the assistant at any time to stream the responses back to the app. So we can return to the app and try that in action. If I say, hey, let's go to Paris. All right. That's it. With just
간단한 설정 후 앱은 저렇게 작동을 합니다.
inside the app. And I'd like to highlight one of my favorite features here, function calling.
두 번째는 함수로 호출할 수 있다는 건데요.
And as Sam mentioned, we're taking it a step further today. It now guarantees the JSON output with no added latency, and you can invoke multiple functions at once for the first time. So here, if I carry on and say, hey, what are the top 10 things to do? I'm going to have the assistant respond to that again. And here, what's interesting is that the assistant knows about functions, including those to annotate the map that you see on the right. And so now all of these pins are dropping in real time here. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And that integration allows our natural language interface to interact fluidly with components and features of our app. And it truly showcases now the harmony you can build between AI and UI, where the assistant is actually taking action. But next, let's talk about retrieval. And retrieval is about giving our assistant more knowledge beyond these
PDF 문서를 집어넣으면 컴퓨터는 뒤에서 그걸 읽고 밖으로 이제 작동을 할 수 있도록 화면에 내보입니다.
While it's uploading, I can just sneak peek at it. Very typical United flight ticket. And behind the scene here, what's happening is that Retrieval is reading these files, and boom, the information about this PDF appeared on the screen. And this is, of course, a very tiny PDF, but assistants can parse long-form documents from extensive text to intricate product specs, depending on what you're building. In fact, I also booked an Airbnb, so I'm just going to drag that over to the conversation as well. And by the way, we've heard from so many of you developers how hard that is to build yourself. You typically need to compute your embeddings, you need to set up chunking algorithm. Now all of that is taken care of. And there's more than retrieval. With every API call, you usually need to resend the entire conversation history, which means, setting up a key value store. That means like handling the context window, serializing messages, and so forth. That complexity now completely goes away with this new stateful API. But just because OpenAI is managing this API does not mean it's a black box. In fact, you can see the steps that the tools are taking right inside your developer dashboard. So here, if I go ahead and click on threads, this is the thread I believe we're currently working on, and see these are all the steps including the functions being called with the right parameters and the PDFs I've just uploaded. But let's move on to a new capability that many of you have been requesting for a while. Code Interpreter is now available today in the API as well. That gives the AI the ability to write and execute code on the fly, but even generate files. So let's see that in action. If I say here, hey, we'll be 4 friends staying at this Airbnb, what's my share of it plus my flights? All right. Now here, what's happening is that Code Interpreter noticed that it should write some code to answer this query. So now it's computing, the number of days in Paris, the number of friends. It's also doing some exchange rate calculation behind the scene to get this answer for us. Not the most complex math, but you get the picture. Imagine you're building a very complex finance app that's crunching countless numbers, plotting charts. So really any task that you'd normally tackle with code, then Code Interpreter will work great for you. All right, I think my trip to Paris is sorted. So to recap here, we've just seen how you can quickly create an assistant that manages state for your user conversations, leverages external tools like knowledge and retrieval and Code Interpreter, and finally invokes your own functions to make things happen. But there's one more thing I wanted to show you to kind of really open up the possibilities using function calling combined with our new modalities that we're launching today. While working on DEVDAY, I built a small custom assistant that knows everything about this event. But
이제
instead of
탭 투
having a chat
스피치의
interface while
기능으로
rolling around all day
재미있는
today,
메시지를
I thought,
한번
why not
만들어
use voice instead?
보겠습니다. 보이스를 만들어
So
보겠습니다.
let's bring my phone up on screen here so you can see it on the right. Awesome. So on the right, you can see a very simple Swift app that takes microphone input. And on the left, I'm actually going to bring up my terminal log so you can see what's happening behind the scenes. So let's give it a shot. Hey there, I'm on the keynote stage right now. Can you greet our attendees here at DEVDAY?
Hey everyone, welcome to DEVDAY. It's awesome to have you all here. Let's make it an incredible day.
Isn't that impressive? You have 6 unique and rich voices to choose from in the API, each speaking multiple languages, so you can really find the perfect fit for your app. And on my laptop here on the left, you can see the logs of what's happening behind the scenes too. So I'm using Whisper to convert the voice inputs into text, an assistant with GPT4 Turbo, and finally the new TTS API to make it speak. But thanks to function calling, things get even more interesting when the assistant can connect to the internet and take real actions for users. So let's do something even more exciting here together. How about this? Hey assistant, can you randomly select 5 DEVDAY attendees here and give them $500 in OpenAI credits?
Yes, checking the list of attendees. Done. I picked 5 DEVDAY attendees and added $500 of API credits to their account. Congrats to Christine M., Jonathan C., Stephen G., Louis K., and Suraj S.
All right, if you recognize yourself, awesome, congrats. And that's it. A quick overview today of the new Assistants API combined with some of the new tools and modalities that we launched. All starting with the simplicity of a rich text or voice conversation for you and users. We really can't wait to see what you build, and congrats to our lucky winners. Actually, you know what? You're all part of this amazing OpenAI community here, so I'm just going to talk to my assistant one last time before I step off the stage. Hey assistant, can you actually give everyone here in the audience $500 in OpenAI credits?
Sounds great. Let me go through everyone.
All right. That function will keep running, but I've run out of time. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day. Back to you, Sam.
Where your GPT will live is on this
여러분들도
upper left
자피어를
corner.
사용하고
I'm gonna
계신
start with
분들이 꽤
clicking
많이
on the
계실
Zapier
텐데요.
AI actions.
자피어의
And on the
API를
right-hand side, you can
연결시켜서
see that's my
더욱더
calendar for
편한
today.
그
So it's
보조
quite a day.
비서를 만들 수
I've
있습니다.
already used this before, so it's actually already connected to my calendar. To start, I can ask, what's on my schedule for today? We build GPTs with security in mind. So before it performs any action or share data, it will ask for your permission. So right here, I'm going to say aloud. So GPT is designed to take in your instructions, make the decision on which capability to call to perform that action, and then execute that for you. So you can see right here, it's already connected to my calendar. It pulls into my information, and then I've also prompted it to identify conflicts on my calendar. So you can see right here, it actually was able to identify that. So it looks like I have something coming up. So what if I want to let Sam know that I have to leave early? So right here I say, let Sam know I gotta go, chasing GPUs. So with that, I'm gonna swap to my conversation with Sam, and then I'm gonna say, yes, please run that. Sam, did you get that?
I did.
Awesome. So this is only a glimpse of what is possible, and I cannot wait to see what you all will build. Thank you, and back to you, Sam.
We've made it so that you can program the
이제는
GPT
오픈
just like
AI의
any
샘
conversation.
알트만의 나만의
We believe that natural
GPT를
language is
만드는
going to be a big
방법을
part
한번
of how people use
보겠습니다.
computers in the future, and we think this is an interesting early example. So I'd like to show you how to build one. All right, so I want to create a GPT that helps give founders and developers advice when starting new projects. I'm going to go to create a GPT here, and this drops me into the GPT builder. I worked with founders for years at YC, and still, whenever I meet developers, the questions I get are always about how do I, think about a business idea? Can you give me some advice? I'm going to see if I can build a GPT to help with that. So to start, GPT Builder asks me what I want to make, and I'm going to say I want to help startup founders think through their business ideas and get advice. After the founder has gotten some advice, grill them on why they are not growing faster. All right, so to start off, I just tell the GPT a little bit about what I want here. And it's going to go off and start thinking about that, and it's going to write some detailed instructions for the GPT. It's also going to, ask me about a name. How do I feel about Startup Mentor? That's fine. That's good. So if I didn't like the name, of course, I could call it something else, but it's going to try to have this conversation with me and start there. And you can see here on the right in the preview mode that it's already starting to fill out the GPT, where it says what it does. It has some ideas of additional questions that I could ask, and you know what? So it just generated a candidate. Of course, I could regenerate that or change it, but I sort of like that. So I will say, that's great. And you see now that the GPT is being built out a little bit more as we go. Now, what I want this to do, how it can interact with users, I could talk about style here, but what I'm going to say is I am going to upload transcripts of some lectures about startups I have given. Please give advice based off of those. All right. So now it's going to go figure out how to do that. And I would like to show you the configure tab. So you can see some of the things that were built out here as we were going by the builder itself. And you can see that there's capabilities here that I can enable. I could add custom actions. These are all fine to leave. I'm going to upload a file. So here is a lecture that I picked that I gave with some startup advice. And I'm going to add that here. In terms of these questions, this is a dumb one. The rest of those are reasonable and very much things founders often ask. I'm going to add one more thing to the instructions here, which is be concise and constructive with feedback. All right. So again, if we had more time, I'd show you a bunch of other things, but this is like a decent start. And now we can try it out over on this preview tab. So I will say, what's a common question? What are three things to look for when hiring employees at an early stage startup. Now it's going to look at that document I uploaded. It'll also have, of course, all of the background knowledge of GPT-4. That's pretty good. Those are three things that I definitely have said many times. Now we could go on and it would start following the other instructions and, grill me on why I'm not growing faster. But in the interest of time, I'm going to skip that. I'm going to publish this only to me for now. I can work on it later. I can add more content. I can add a few actions that I think would be useful. And then I can share it publicly. So that's what it looks like to create a GPT. Our partners at code.org are working hard to expand
가장
computer
유용하게
science
쓸 수
in schools.
있는
They've got a
API는
curriculum that is used by
교육기관이겠는데요.
tens of millions of students
교육기관에서는 레슨 플래너
Code.org
API를
crafted lesson
사용해서
plan GPT
이제
to help
교사들이
teachers
아주
provide a more
쉽게
engaging
소통할
experience
수
in real schools.
있는 그런 플래너를
If a
만들 수
teacher asks it to
있습니다.
explain for loops in a creative way, it does just that. In this case, it'll do it in terms of a video game character, repeatedly picking up coins. Super easy to understand for an 8th grader. As you can see, this GPT brings together code.org's extensive curriculum and expertise and lets teachers adapt it to their needs quickly and easily. Next, Canva has built a GPT.
이미 캔바를 쓰시고 계신 분들은 아실 텐데요. 캔바에서도 AI를 도입해서 많은 디자인을 손쉽게 만들 수 있도록 한 지는 좀 됐죠. 한번 들어가셔서 테스트 해보는 것도 좋을 것 같습니다.
Now this concept may be familiar to some of you. We've evolved our plugins to be custom actions for GPTs. You can keep chatting with this to see different iterations, and when you see one you like, you can click through to Canva for the full design experience.
You guys have built something magical. I mean, quite
마지막으로
frankly, there are two
오픈AI의
things, for us when it
강력한
comes to
파트너인
partnership.
마이크로소프트
First is
CEO의
these
말을
workloads, and even when I was
한번
listening backstage
들어보겠습니다.
to how you're describing what's coming, even it's just so different and new. I've been in this infrastructure. Just really, the shape of Azure is drastically changed and is changing rapidly in support of these models that you're building. And so our job number one is to build the best systems so that you can build the best models and then make that all available to developers. And so the other thing is we ourselves are a developer. So we're building products. In fact, my own conviction of this entire generation of foundation models completely changed the first time I saw, GitHub Copilot on GPT. And so we want to build our Copilot, GitHub Copilot, all as developers on top of OpenAI APIs. And so we are very, very committed to that. And what does that mean to developers? Look, I always think of Microsoft as a platform company, a developer company, and a partner company. And so we want to make, for example, we want to make GitHub available, GitHub Copilot available as the Enterprise Edition available to all the attendees here so that they can try it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're very excited about that. And you can count on us to build the best infrastructure in Azure with your API support and bring it to all of you. And then even things like the Azure Marketplace. So for developers who are building products out here to get to market rapidly. So that's sort of really our intent here.
Great. And how do you think about the future? Future of the partnership or future of AI or whatever?
Yeah,
anything you want.
That's there are a couple of things for me that I think are going to be very, very key for us, right? One is I just described how the systems that are needed as you aggressively push forward on your roadmap requires us to be on the top of our game. And we intend fully to commit ourselves deeply to making sure you all, as builders of these foundation models, have not only the best systems for training and inference, but the most compute so that you can keep pushing forward on the frontiers, because I think that's the way we're going to make progress. The second thing I think both of us care about, in fact, quite frankly, the thing that excited both sides to come together is your mission and our mission. Our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And to me, ultimately, AI is only going to be useful if it truly does empower, right? I mean, I saw the video you played early. I mean, that was fantastic to see hear those voices. describe what AI meant for them and what they were able to achieve. So ultimately, it's about being able to get the benefits of AI broadly disseminated to everyone, I think is going to be the goal for us. And then the last thing is, of course, we're very grounded in the fact that safety matters, and safety is not something that you'd care about later, but it's something we do shift left on, and we are very, very focused on that with you all.
Great. Well, I think we have the best partnership in tech. I'm excited for us to build AGI together.
No, I'm really excited. Have a fantastic
Thank you very much for
conference.
coming.
Thank you so much.
See ya.
이상 메타저고리였습니다. 감사합니다.